Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes, and today we're going to be going further into healing, vitality, contemplation, and master gardening. So, folks, get ready to have your pens ready, your notes to take, and if you're here live with us, make sure that you have that chat open so you can see the notes that Marilyn and Phyllis are both putting into that chat to help you remember what was just said, because they both do a fantastic job at that. Now, if you're out on any of the platforms, any like YouTube or Rumble or Spotify or Brighteon or X or Instagram, and you would like to join us live, you may do so by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's zoom.dailywithdoc.com. This program is being sponsored by dailywithdoc.com, where you're going to find more information about our programming, past shows, good foods, bad foods list, a store, and articles to help you make better decisions when it comes to alternatives to obtaining better health. As we are on this health journey with you, we just want to do a shout out to all of the amazing coaches and their guests, as this is a resource for a fantastic community of health coaches, certified health coaches, health advocates. So if you were invited by somebody specific, they are your person. Make sure that you get back with them. Tell them thank you and what you liked most about the program. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So as we are on all the different platforms, if there's a way that you can follow us, subscribe, do so. And leave a comment in the comments. Let us know where you're joining us from. Now, my name is Becca Dukes. I'm the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health. And I'm also the producer and hostess of this program. And I just love being able to share solutions as I search for many, many years trying to find solutions to my poor health. And the harder I tried, the sicker I got. And one of those people that were on that journey with me is our guest today, Kasondra McCormick. She is a researcher, she's a teacher, and she just has a passion to helping individuals on this journey we call life, especially those that are going into the later years of life. So today we're going to be talking again about healing, vitality, contemplation, and master gardening. Its impact on our health, our wellness, and vitality. And why is this relevant? Well, we're creating relationships, awareness to our patterns that help us make healthy, long-lasting changes in life. Kasondra, welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for having me again and again and again. I love it.
Well, we keep having people reaching out saying, I love that. When is she gonna be on again? So it's been a pleasure to be able to have you on for multiple weeks in a row, as our conversation has well, it all is like a puzzle that's being put together.
Yep.
It's related. And my first question to you, and I just before I forget, we are dedicating today's program to Bob, the brother-in-law of Andy and Phyllis Anderson. Phyllis is one of our co-hosts. He passed away this morning. We just want to dedicate this program to him and the family. So as everybody is going through their day, don't forget to reach out to someone you love, because you never know when there won't be another tomorrow with them. So that being said, let's clear up. We're all good. Kasondra, what does it mean to contemplate? And what is found now is found then? What does that mean to you? And how can our listeners apply this in their life to create harmony during healing in their journey through vitality and wellness?
It's a great question. It's a deep question. But I think in order for us to truly have optimal health and life-lasting optimal vitality, it takes a place of contemplation. So we have to slow down, and we really need to reflect on our journey, where we're at right now, and where we're headed. So we've talked many times about doing an assessment, and doing that self-assessment. I love to use analogies, and master gardening is something that I love to do. I'm an avid gardener. No matter where I go, I always have plants, or it's something that reminds me of gardening. And in that contemplation, we're going to place a lot. We're going to start creating soil and put nutrients in, the right nutrients, so that we can have a healthy garden, which means we're going to have a healthy life. And so that's what we're going to discuss. And we're going to talk about the weeds in the garden, and how sometimes weeds in the garden, we always want to pluck them out, but sometimes those weeds in the garden are actually good and they're helpful.
Well, in some weeds, a weed to one man is an herb to another.
Very much so. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And figuring out which weeds need to stay and which weeds go, is something that we can contemplate and reflect on, and then make choices.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you start on some of those weeds to leave and take away.
Okay. So regarding weeds, depending on the season that you're in, the weeds can create a humid environment where things can grow and mature, and you can get a bumper crop from that growth. There are other times when you need to pull those weeds out so that you can air out, dry the soil, and start fresh and new. So just like seasons of our life, we need to figure out what weeds are important in our life, and those go into I call it a mind map. And I create a map every year, and I start out just like everyone does January 1. They start new traditions. They go back and reflect on those things that maybe they didn't do so well in over the year. They look forward and say, here are the things that I'd really like to accomplish this year. So January 1's always a great place to start. And then as the seasons change, that's another time. So if you missed January 1, it's okay. You just start, at that next season. So springtime is here, gardening is really active in a lot of people's minds, and that's a great place to sit down and start thinking about these things. So contemplation is where we start, but what do we contemplate about? So we can contemplate about lots of things, and we talk about journaling, but if we start a map and we give some prompts about what we should contemplate about, then we can go back and we can reflect on those things, and we can track our journey. So the first thing you want to do is start reflecting in about 5-year chunks. And you may have a lot of 5 years in front of you, and you might have a lot of 5 years behind you. And even though this seems like a lot of work, you will really find, once you go through that, you will find that this process gets quicker and quicker. So you have to sit down, just like tilling the soil, finding your plot, preparing the soil. You really have to spend some time in this so that you can figure out what you want to grow in your garden. So doing 5-year chunks, and this is literally like starting at the beginning of your life. Start with age 1 through 5 and just start finding some patterns. And again, this takes some time, so you need to have some space, and you can start, stop, close the book, walk away, and come back to it. So it's a really great practice. I'll just give some areas, your rows, if you will, of the things you want to plant. So typically when we're ages 1 through 5, we have family, we have education, we have pets, we have food. And once we get past that 1 through 5, then we start seeing things like sports and art or creativity, traveling. And in those 1 through 10 years, we start seeing some patterns of spirituality. Usually these are patterns of our parents or our loved ones. And those are all patterns that, that we're observing. So we talked before about what is mine and what is yours. So typically those first few years, that influence is going to be, those that were influenced to you. The reflection in that is, in each one of those categories, what do I love? What's meaningful to me? And so once you can figure out, let's say in education, I wasn't so great at school, but then when I got to college, I got to pick my own classes and I really enjoyed it. Something along those lines, right? Or maybe I was bullied at school, and that's something that's really affected me. And we start seeing some patterns in just education per se, right? And this leads into unpacking some feelings. And through this journey, we're going to unpack some feelings about how we have conflict in these areas. And this also is where we grew in some of these areas. So by just sitting down and doing this small exercise, we're going to uncover a lot of things that may lead to how we got in this community today. Because these patterns are rooted in, and we can try to eat well. Just as you started out, when we first started the program, trying to do everything right and still continuing to head down that mountain very progressively in a negative way that still led to terrible health outcomes. So the emotional part of the equation is super important to how we get to vitality and how we get to the opportunity to have really good health and have our nutrition work in our benefit. So the hard work is really unpacking some of these emotions that are locked in that don't allow us to have a better healing.
Well, how can our listeners begin to like visualize the healing and vitality by repeating challenges that sparked growth?
Yes. Once you start doing this work and you start looking through your 5 years, you're going to notice some things that really start repeating themselves. And we are going to continue to repeat these patterns for our entire life. So if we can really just wake up to this awareness that in some way, fashion, or form, these repeating patterns are not our enemy, but they are to help us in this lifetime to be our best self. And we're going to do it a little bit better each time. And this is back to the weeding the garden, right? Back to weeding the garden.
Okay, so as you know, I know that this is something that we're building this master garden of awareness, right?
Yes. Yes.
What are the most important things to focus on?
So I will just I'll walk you through this. So creating the master garden through your mind map, it helps us to make predictions about the future. And by doing that, we become aware of our patterns. And if we can become aware of our patterns, this gives us the ability, like I said, to accept those patterns. And there's a lot of unwinding that happens and just being accepting of the patterns that we have. Good, bad, ugly, joyful, whatever that pattern is, if we can just accept it and find our way through that emotion and just let it just sit and let it be, that saying, what is found now is found then. Past, present, and future. These are these repeating patterns. So if we can get to the awareness of the pattern and we can forgive ourselves for being so harsh towards ourselves, man, I'm never going to do that again. I really screwed up. Or you lost your temper, you lost your cool, and I'm never going to do that. Well, guess what? You might just have a fiery type of personality. And if you can recognize that you have just a fiery type of personality and your tendency is to react, the awareness of that gives you the ability to verbalize that and say, when I get in this position, I know I'm going to lose my cool. Or I might say something that upsets another person. And this is just who I am. And I'm going to try really hard. Each time this pattern keeps coming up over and over and over, we're not going to kick it to the curb. We're going to start creating awareness. Ooh, I feel this feeling, right? Take a pause. We did those meditations before, right? Put your hand on your heart, take a breath, right? One breath. Now you have the opportunity to say, wow, that really triggered me. How am I going to do this differently? Because this pattern is going to keep challenging you and keep sparking you to have growth. So give yourself some grace. Lots of grace. Lots of grace. Instead of being upset with yourself and being angry, which makes your body angry, because we internalize that and we can't heal and have vitality. And now we have to unwind all that negative talk that we've talked to ourselves. Instead, if we can turn that into, I forgive myself, I'm okay, I have awareness about this, and each time this pattern comes up, because it's going to come up, I'm going to use these tools in my toolbox to take a breath and then go back in there and hey, I'm sorry. I'm working on this. Just acknowledging the fact that you're working on this, that makes, everything okay. And then once you start creating this positive, this positive effect in your body, this starts changing the internal structure. And now all of a sudden we're changing the nutrients and we're changing the soil within ourselves. And now we're at an opportunity for growth. And now we can start taking these steps. The nutrients start working. The vitamins and supplements start working. Good water starts working. It's hard, but so rewarding. And this is what just that awareness can help us make that healthy change. And then at a point, we might even be able to have some joy in that conflict. And we might even be able to just laugh at ourselves and say, wow, did I really just do that? Again. Again. So I did my own map. And the patterns are frustrating. And then by the end, the acceptance is, okay, here we are. This is what we've got to work with. This is our soil. How am I going to build the best garden that I can build that promotes my wellness and my well-being, and also engage in a community and the right energy around me that starts helping that garden grow.
So it has, from what I'm hearing, it has a lot to do with us working more on ourselves and recognizing our own patterns, even verbally recognizing our own patterns to others that are around us, to create more of a harmonious type environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
I think when there's more understanding between the individuals, you have more harmony, even if it's not like perfect sailing through life, but you have a better understanding of each other.
Yes. So, if you're sailing through life, yay, you've done the hard work, or maybe you're not ready to do the hard work. And there's, more below the surface, that needs to happen, or you could just be in total avoidance. Right? You could be in total avoidance and you're okay with that. And I think when we encounter other people, we're all in this community and this is what we thrive on, being healthy and living our best life. And then we encounter other people that it just doesn't make any sense to them. And, it's judgment on our part, which is very subtle, that, creates a little bit of a wedge between you and that other person. Inadvertently, very subtly, you have all these little judgments and they build up. And all of a sudden, the only people you want to be around are those people who are like you, who are on the same path. And yes, that's important, but how do we spark our growth if we don't become aware of, allowing other people around us to be who they are? We don't know their circumstances, like today in dedicating our show. We all showed up here and we're all living different lives. And some days are more extreme than others. And if, we can just step back and have some awareness, maybe somebody's just having a bad day, they showed up anyway, have some grace in that for them, because it'll be your turn soon.
Very true. Very true. So as we're working on ourselves, and this is not in our notes, we didn't discuss this. As we're working on ourselves, what are some things that we can do when we're trying to stay positive and stay focused on all of the good things that are going on around us? All the things that are blooming and growing. And then there's those weeds that other people see that they just can't let go of.
Yep. That's a really great question, because those are people right in our inner circle. And they, they may have a jealousy to your ability to grow and work through these things that they may not have the strength to go through. So coming to this place with love and compassion to create harmony, and not just your harmony, but the harmony between the two or the family, that we are raising individuals and we are surrounding ourselves with people who are individuals. And we want everyone, we all came here with a different path and a different journey. And each one of us, even those who are inside our inner circle, we're all attracting each other to grow. And sometimes we're doing that very unaware. So having the pause and having the stillness and the contemplation to really know who, like you said, doing the inner work is so incredibly important. Because if we don't know who we are and what we're about, and we don't know what our triggers are, our challenges, our weeds, again, we go back to judgment. But the interesting thing is that when you have judgment for another, it's actually a reflection of something internally with you. It's actually a mirror. And so when a judgment comes up, that pause should trigger, where inside of me, where did that come from? Why do I have that judgment? Where did that feeling come from? And just realize that we are constantly mirroring our environment. We are like a magnet attracting that which is within us. And if we don't like something that's around us, or it makes us uncomfortable, we should go to self-reflection. Why does that bother me? Where have I encountered that in my life? And where maybe have I treated someone like that? And you may be able to find equality in that moment a little quicker.
So I think when you stop and you have that awareness, analyze it, contemplate where that awareness or reaction to that emotion has stemmed from, then you're able to stop the trigger or just divert it, or
you're actually going to absorb, you're going to reabsorb that, because the trigger creates awareness. The minute that you have awareness, which before it's the program running in the background in your subconscious, right? And you have that trigger. And then the minute that you recognize the trigger, now it is in the forethought and it's in front of you, and you've recognized that trigger. Now, bringing that, each time you keep encountering a trigger and you bring it to your awareness and you bring it in front of you, now you are more prepared for it. And then going back to reflection, why did that trigger me? And saying, and knowing that that's a mirror of something that's within me. Where have I maybe treated somebody in this way? Go all the way back to the one, 0 to 5, 5 to 10. Where have I exhibited or encountered this before? Mm-hmm. And by doing the mind map, this is really going to help you identify your triggers much quicker, because it's going to start bringing up emotions. It's going to start bringing up belief systems and these patterns. You're going to start recognizing those triggers within you. And you're going to, and then why? Why is this triggering me? What happened in my life? Or what is my viewpoint or my belief system about this trigger? And then can I get to a place of harmony and compassion and love? Because this other individual is on their own path, and they're walking through their journey in which they may not have the awareness yet. And reflect back, I remember when I didn't have that awareness. And this creates an opportunity to not have judgment and reflect back on self.
So we have a comment out on YouTube from YT. Says, but those harmful patterns can cause self-isolation. Sometimes staying out of that frustrating environment is the only thing that helps.
That's a really good point. Yes. And yes, we talked about the weeds. Mm-hmm. At a point, you have to make decisions about those triggers. If they continue to be unhealthy, once you figure out what is yours, what's your belief system, and where you're at, and you're healthy and harmonious, and your vitality is at its optimum, this is my garden. Guess you get to own your own space and you get to live your life. Bless you. And once you have the opportunity to be able to weed out the garden, the energy that which does not match you anymore, we have to find our voice and we have to say, this is not healthy for me. And part of weeding out the garden is, if you get an infestation, sometimes you have to pull the whole garden out and you have to start all over. And sometimes you have to let that soil sit and take a break, let a season pass, and then replant and figure out why that happened. And there is solitude and isolation is not healthy for long periods of time. Self-preservation and solitude are absolutely good. But by pulling yourself out of that equation, that negative environment that gives you an opportunity to do this work, to contemplate and to reflect and to find your words and find your own truth, so that you can vocalize why this no longer works for you. And once you sit really confident in your truth, you feel so good about not allowing that in your life anymore. And sometimes we have to make really hard decisions. We have to make really hard decisions. And guess what? That's okay. And if no one else understands, that's okay too. You have to live your truth, and you can do that in confidence when you do this work, because you know what your truth is. And you also know how to vocalize and verbalize those things, and stand in the mirror and tell yourself your truth. Tell yourself your truth. Believe your truth. There's a lot of junk out there. There's a lot of noise out there. No one else is going to tell you your truth.
I agree. And finding your truth. I mean, that's one of the joys of this whole journey we call life.
Absolutely.
Who are we?
Yeah.
Who are we? And
Yes.
and figuring out who is it that we want to be around.
Yeah.
Because you had mentioned a magnet. You know, if we've got a whole thing of negative emotions, that doesn't mean you're going to attract the positive people.
Right. And your belief, and go back to forgiveness and grace for yourself. There are periods of your life that we only get one shot at this. There are no do-overs. It's okay. It's okay. This is where the forgiveness and grace comes in. And then the joy and the laughter as you get older, you know, as you really get into those later stages of life, we're just not so serious about ourselves. You just, the sooner we can find that out, the quicker we'll get there. So, but you know, sitting down and having this reflection, even at those later stages, is still really important, because you need to do that check-in. Where am I right now? Where am I at right now in this stage of my life? What works for me? What doesn't work for me? And what can I do? And what shouldn't I do anymore? And where is there a space for me to still grow and feel purposeful and continue learning? So I can share the mind map garden, just a few on that note of, as we start getting older and we start looking at those patterns. I'll go through this list, and this is a really great time for you to pull out your pencil and a piece of paper and just jot down some things that resonate with you as I go through this list, and see if they resonate with you, and see if it's a place for you to reflect. And it might help you with this map in building your garden. So and I'm starting with my first, because I did my own garden, and you know, I'm starting at my hierarchy. So family and friends and love and this is love for people, places, and things, not just people. Do you need a family? Do you need pets? Do we need to learn to pause in this place? And can we, or do we need to add compassion and kindness in this area of family, pets, friends, and love? Next category is physical health, stamina, and strength. We talk a lot about healing modalities, and I have lots of healing modalities, and it's a top priority for me. Tried lots of things, and I've had lots of wonderful experiences. Food and nutrition are in this category. Physical strength, I like rowing. I like the competition. I like the community. And I don't like doing things alone as I'm getting older, where when I was younger, I like to do things by myself, very independently, like gardening. I find community is more fulfilling now. And I'm in a different stage of my healing also. And so I'm inviting community in now. I call it mental genius. I think everyone is a genius. I have such a passion for the brain, and thinking right and thinking well, and just finding everyone's genius, whatever that is. It just, whether you're creative or whether you're very logical and analytical, it's a high priority. In this mental genius and creativity, do you need solitude in order to be able to think and be creative, or maybe do your accounting? What space do you need to create in order to get that thing going, to light the fire in you? Do you need solitude? Do you need family? Do you need pets? What do you need in your environment? Leadership can come in lots of different, you can be a mom, you can be an adoptive mom or dad, and you have the opportunity to lead others in some sphere of influence. How can you share your voice with others, and how can you share your experience with others in a way that leads or teaches or touches another loved individual? The next one is vocational success in your profession or achievements of service. So social well-being, you can do social well-being in the workplace, and you can do social well-being in your home, and you can do social well-being in your community. What is your highest good that you are here to contribute? I personally, very social. I love the social community. My highest good is to be able to serve with my time and talents so that I can influence others and stand in the gap for those who are less fortunate, those who are unable, and those who are suffering. So as you start, sorry, I forgot one minute, financial freedom. Clearly, it's at the bottom of my list. Freedom looks very differently to me. For me, it's having the means to provide what is needed. So this really, for me, my social well-being and social good is my highest priority. And I think financial freedom comes through being your highest good and doing social contribution. But that's for me. And we might have a person in our sphere that might be their top priority, and their whole being is completely the opposite of yours. But they may be able to attain and check off all these things in a different way that are very meaningful for them. So just understanding who you are and what's meaningful to you, and then allowing that grace for those other individuals to live their own journey with or without awareness, or with or without your understanding. This is going to help us reduce those triggers and then come to a place of kindness and compassion and harmony. And that is going to allow your body the freedom to have vitality.
Yeah, you were talking about social contribution. And when I hear social contribution, I hear serving others. And I there's so much joy that comes in serving others instead of always just serving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Where I have a hard time when somebody's serving me and waiting on me.
So that is, and that is a trigger, and that's a point of reflection. And you and I both share that. And I always felt very uncomfortable. But if you recognize our health patterns and choosing to serve others instead of self, I have this saying that is, it is okay for you to be your own charity. There are periods of time where we have to, what we have done for others, we have got to do for ourselves, or we are not going to be able to heal and have vitality. And our truth about this belief system that we are, that we don't deserve, we're not worth. This is a really, really deep topic. And if you can put your hand on your heart, take a breath. When you sit on your bum, that is the place of I am. You are sitting on yourself. Think about that. Then the next place, right about your hip length, this is I feel. And then right at your belly button, this is I do. So I am and I feel comes before I do. Then we have our hand on our heart. And then we speak our truth and we communicate. And then we see, we have executive functioning and thinking, we see in front of us. And then we have divine awareness above us. So if we can take all those things visually and just drop each one of those things into our heart. Put I am in my heart, love. I feel love. I will do love. I will speak and communicate love. I will see love. And I am connected to love. We're going to be able to live our life a different way. And this is me. This is you. This is self. This number one. And if we can do all of those things in love, and I do this every morning. Well, let's say before I go to bed, I take all these things and I put them on my heart and I tuck them into bed. And then in the morning when I wake up, I unpack each one of them. And that's how I end my day. And I forget sometimes, but I recognize it pretty quickly that I need to stop, take a breath, and I need to like unpack everything. Or maybe I need to put it back in there. And I need to rinse it out, shake it out, and put it all back.
We got a little deep today. folks, in looking into ourselves and more caring for ourselves and identifying our triggers and having that awareness of what's around us. And you may be thinking, well, how does this relate to health and nutrition? So, Kasondra, I mean, health. When we're negative, how does that affect our health?
Absolutely. You have nothing to give, and it is going to eat you from within, and you are either going to gain weight or you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose muscle mass. You're going to have brain fog. You're going to be frustrated and angry. Your tummy is going to have indigestion. So unpacking all of these tools and being very deep with yourself. Breathe. There's an analogy. If you don't clean out the closet, you don't get new clothes. You have to clean out the junk in order for you to have new, in order for those nutrients to work properly. In order for them to work properly, you have to clean out the junk, and emotional junk and toxins are and even if you have toxic exposure, cleaning out the emotional junk, removing those layers, putting in good foods, and removing those toxic things around you, you have a beautiful garden, and it can start anytime. I had a woman who was in her 80s who told me she never did one thing right until she was 50. And this is about, let's see, this is when you and I lived in the same neighborhood. So a very, very, very long time ago. And you know what she was doing? I was just reflecting on this the other day. For some reason, she popped into my mind. She told me that long ago, and I didn't put the pieces together because it wasn't there yet. She was taking care of a paraplegic man at 80 years old. She never did one right thing until she was 50. But she was able to recover her vitality and her strength to a level that she would put this paraplegic man in a van and drive him to and take care of all of his needs. It's extraordinary. So even if you had crappy patterns your whole life, it doesn't matter when you start. The most important thing is that you start.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, call to action. We want to encourage each and every one of you to find at least one healing strategy that was discussed. You've got your breathing exercises. We didn't mention it today, but we mentioned it in the past, music therapy.
Yes.
And of course, nutritional changes.
Yes.
Need to get your foundation of nutrition. It's not in the food. Food is null and void. And the more I look at it and I'm reading in the ingredients, it makes me want, well, I don't have to wonder anymore why I was getting so sick. Even eating the healthy stuff. But definitely you want to make sure that you're getting the nutritional requirements of the body so you're not deficient.
You have to have the foundational building blocks. Minerals are vital. Proteins, vital. Minerals and protein are vital building blocks upon which everything else builds.
Right. And my favorite foundation, 90 essential nutrients. You've got your 60 minerals, you've got your 12 amino acids, your 16 vitamins, your 3 essential fatty acids. And for me, I do even more, especially getting over that change of life thing and making sure, well, Kasondra, I went through the change without, it was like instant. Instant.
Yeah, well, that'll be another show.
Well,
Mine was radical and experiential.
I know, I experienced a little bit of yours. And you're younger
We'll
than
have
me.
to talk about that offline. I don't remember.
Well, maybe it's a good thing you didn't remember.
Yes,
Well,
thank you for your grace. Thank you for your grace.
I still love you. I still love you. Oh, folks, we want to know what resonated with you today. What is it that resonated with you today? And we do have a hand up. AJ, do you have a question or a comment?
Comment. I actually thought that you were going to discuss more literal gardening. So in a description, I put our Bloomin minerals in the description. I didn't know you were more talking about spiritual gardening.
It's okay. Those blooming minerals are really important in order to facilitate the spiritual gardening. You do have to have, and thank you for that, AJ. You do have to have proper nutrients in order to think properly. So they are in tandem, very much so. If you don't have proper thinking, you need to have proper nutrition. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. And one of these days, I think we should do a gardening episode.
Oh, I would love that.
Of course, my
gardening,
is different than yours right now, and neither one of us are on the farm.
Yeah, I have a patio garden, which everyone actually stops and takes pictures of, because everything is just exploding. I have flowers and plants everywhere. I just can't do without them, no matter whether I'm in the city or not. I have to have them. It's my joy.
Well, and yes, so I have my plants here. I have a whole table downstairs that are full of plants. I just absolutely love them. Absolutely. Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour, or are we? Yes, we are.
Yeah. How do we do that? So much fun.
It goes by so quickly. So I just want to have our co-hosts join us here. And thank each and every one of you that tuned in for taking and investing this time into yourself. I want to know what you got most out of it, what resonated with you. So if you're here live with us, you can throw it in the chat. If you're out on any of the different platforms, put it in the comments. Let us know what, even some of your personal experiences on this topic. If you want to go that far, we love to hear from our listeners. And what topics do you want us to talk about next? So that's always something that you can either do in the comments or even email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com for questions. If you have questions in regards to where maybe you might be missing nutrients. But remember, if somebody specifically invited you, they are your person to get back to. Now, if there is nobody to thank, you found us on your own and you want to get connected with a certified holistic health coach to help you along this journey, I do have a wonderful team that can be reached at 855-949-3377. And that's 855-949-3377. 888-888-8277. And for all of you on the different social media platforms, look in that description. You're going to find the nutrients that we have found to be most helpful with that foundation, plus things to help us emotionally and our thinking, including those blooming minerals that you're going to put in your garden so that your food is more nutritious as well. Kasondra, thank you so much for being here and being our guest. I look forward to our next moment together, which might be next week. We'll let you know. No, not next week.
I'm happy to be here whenever you'll have me.
Okay, fantastic. And we also have with us today Sherry, and she's part of our tech crew. In fact, the tech crew is Sherry, Ruth Ellen, AJ, and Kaylee. As we get together, make sure everything is working right, make sure the graphics are all lined up. So I just want to do a shout out to them, because it's also the team that makes sure that we're available on all the different platforms that you are watching or listening to now. So thank you, Sherry, AJ, Ruth Ellen, Kaylee, as she's also helping with social media presence. Thank you. Thank you. We have our amazing duo of typists. What would your transcribers? I mean, you it's like instant. It said, I see it typed. You both are just so fantastic. And that is Marilyn and Phyllis. Thank you both, ladies, for all that you do. And also Phyllis and Rod are out watching the different social media platforms and catching those comments, bringing them in so that, and AJ is as well, so that as comments are made, we're able to share those comments, ask those questions, and make sure that your concerns, comments, because you matter, are shared in the program as well. And we have Albert, who is letting people in. So thank you so much, Albert. And I think I mentioned Rod, as he's out on the different social media platforms. And just a reminder, this program is being dedicated to Bob. And, you know, take a moment, folks, right now, and call someone you love and just say, you know, I'm thinking of you. Even if it's somebody that's in your past of one of those weeds that had to be pulled. Digging up those skeletons and keeping them hidden was not the best thing for me and kept me from being able to grow. Again, thank you so much. AJ, how come you're not up here? Is it because we can only spotlight 9? Is that what it is? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, join us next time on Daily with Doc. Again, my name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc and Becca. And if you'd like to join us live, zoom.dailywithdoc.com, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern, and 9 to 10 in South Africa. Did I get it right? Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. Go visit dailywithdoc.com, sign up for our newsletter. Don't want to miss a seat. And if you'd like to get more information, again, we have a team at 855-949-3377 for those who do not have their own person. So Nancy says today's spirituality topic, grateful. Thank you so much, Nancy, for sharing that. So until next time, everybody, bye for now. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.